All right, so we're back again with the African men. We have Gil from Angola, we have Kofi from Ghana, and Uche from Nigeria, my brother from another mother.
Yeah.
All right, so we want to touch now on African to African relationship. Do we like each other as Africans?
We don't know each other.
We don't know each other.
We don't know each other.
Okay.
That's been the biggest challenge, and I say that because I grew up here, right? And as a kid, when I started interacting with other Africans, I started to notice that we did not know each other. We assume a lot about each other, but we don't completely understand each other. We also were taught or programmed not to respect each other. So that plays a big role in what happens. I'll give you a plain example. Houston, for instance, now is starting to change, but even about 5 years ago, right? Even 5 years ago, you're Nigerian, you hang with Nigerian, you go toward Anglophones, maybe Anglophones, because if you're from Cameroon and you go into a Nigerian thing, watch out, because there may be a jollof rice argument there, right? Or a soccer argument, something. If you're Angolan, your community is completely different, you know. The assumption is that, hey, most of you guys are mulattoes anyway. Angolans, Cape Verdeans, these are the African mulattoes, right? So they on a whole different spectrum. They're on their own, right? And then you have
Ethiopians.
You have the Ethiopians. We don't even associate it. Y'all.
And then Egypt. What is Egypt? Like, who's there?
We not African.
No, exactly.
Yeah, we're not African.
So do you guys agree with what Gil is saying? Is it that we don't know each other?
I respect. I mean, I don't. My personal experience growing up, I interacted a lot with Nigerians. I mean, some of my best friends are Nigerian. I have a few Cameroonian friends. So even in church, like the churches I grew up in, there were different African families there. So I had interaction with them growing up. Like, so for me, I feel like that there's definitely interaction there. I mean, here, like Nigeria is like Nigerians are this is the most populous city for Nigerians
Houston.
in the U.S. So they're, they're unavoidable.
So let me ask this then. Do you like Nigerians?
Yeah, absolutely.
I like or love.
That's what I mean.
Coffee.
I say I do, because I have like very close Nigerian friends. Like I would go, to their house and eat dinner with their family like on a consistent basis, and likewise they'll come to my house and eat dinner with our family on a consistent basis.
Okay, let me interject here again, because maybe even you Gil, can shed some light if I go to Uche. We hear this perception about Nigerians, us being aggressive, us being, just all over the place. Like in South Africa, look at what happened in South Africa. And so do you share those same sentiments, or do you know people who share those same sentiments towards Nigerians?
Well, remember that this is what we hear, what we hear and what we learn every day through programming, right? Either news or television, or even some Nigerians who, in all honesty, they want to put out that perception, because remember that psychologically is a mechanism of defense sometimes. So before I get attacked, let me attack, right? Now, aggressiveness from the aspect of speaking and being loud and doing so, Nigerians have nothing on Congolese. Right. Nigerians have nothing on Congolese, because
I wish we had more time to dive in, but I'm listening.
The Congolese are the real hustlers of Africa. Let's not forget that they were the first ones to really create what America knew as African culture. Let's not forget that in Africa, the fabric that we all consider African fabric is the Congolese kitenge, right?
Yes.
So these are the loudest, the strongest, the true hustlers, the real hardcore, right? The trailblazers. And then you have other communities, of course, like Nigerians that I think Nigerians, most of their reputation is also their savviness on financial systems, right? In which I think that bad Nigerians may even made Nigeria famous for the wrong reason.
Yes.
Because Cote d'Ivoire, in all honesty, has the guys who financially are savvier within the entire continent. But
Uche, I want to hear what you have to say. That's the last question.
I think differently about what Gil said.
Do we hate each other?
No, Africans, we're, like he was saying, the first word he used in the first question he answered was community. Africa is about community, right? And like Kofi mentioned, there's a strong sense of community in Africa. Yeah, the Angolans might be Lusophonic, they're Portuguese-speaking people, but still, there is a communication network that we have that is not English, it's not Portuguese, we're Africans, right? And this discussion has always come up, these conversations about Nigeria and whatever. Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa. It's the biggest collection of black people anywhere in the world, right? So it's a matter of volume, if you ask me. If you tell me about all the scammers, tell me about the professors in Harvard as well, because they're there, they're brilliant Nigerians doing fantastic work in every industry. Yeah. So it's a matter of volume. So if we're 1/5 of the whole continent of 1.2 billion people, then it's possible that the best jollof rice will come from. It's also
So okay, let's go. Jollof rice
it's
is
too
more.
difficult that
I didn't see that coming, Uche. That was a nice segue. So who has the best job?
You know what's funny?
What's funny? I didn't see that
Nigerians
coming.
always like to say that jollof rice is the best, but
So
it's not
who's-
even close. It's not.
So whose is the best?
On the list is like
It's
not even
fine.
top 10.
I'm
but
so biased.
they like to use
No, but
that.
my prayer is where I was hoping, but my wife makes jollof rice.
Yeah.
That's incredible jollof rice, right? I've been in Ghana a few times, and when I talk with her, I'm just hoping this conversation will drive us to launch jollof rice into the global menu.
Market, yeah.
The cuisine, like when you wake up and you say, "Look, it's my birthday. Let's go eat Italian."
No, I think it's already become
It's
mainstream.
becoming.
It's on its way, right?
Yeah, I see
Right.
people sell those to go, not to go. What's the stuff they sell in the grocery stores? Like
Yeah.
quick
Yeah.
and easy. Yeah.
Because if it's going to happen, maybe the best one is Senegalese, maybe the best one is Ghanaian, right? But
Not maybe.
if it's going to happen, Nigerians are going to do it, not Ghanaians.
I'm so excited. So who has the best jollof rice, Kofi?
Ghanaian.
Ghanaians. Whatever he said.
Whatever you
it is
say.
right.
But let's ask. This is not biased.
Angolans are not a jollof.
Yeah.
Angola is not a
So who
jollof
has the best
rice
amongst
country,
Nigerians?
right?
I'm sure
And,
you've had jollof
I
rice.
only tried jollof rice about 3 years ago for the first time,
Okay.
and was at a Nigerian restaurant.
Uh-huh.
I did like it, but for the sake of argument, my daughter
Okay.
likes jollof rice.
Okay. And she makes it?
And she's learning how to make it. Her mother is American, so to them it's actually just the experience, going through the experience. So for me, if the rice tastes good, I can care less what country came from.
Exactly.
Okay, so we're out of time, but I would say jollof rice was started in Senegal, right? They created jollof rice. I'm biased, I'm Nigerian, so Niger jollof rice it is, okay? Kofi's like,
No, but not just the rice.
But
Kofi says outnumbered, we gotta cut this.
there's
Of course.
there's also like a lot of actually
Which
jollof
music?
restaurants. Like there's one in
Which music?
No, there's no doubt that Nigeria is a cultural superpower.
Oh,
So that's why I was saying, like, growing up, like you mentioned, very communal. Like, Africans and people are communal. But I definitely think there's a lot of love and respect for African people amongst each other and within the community itself. Like, I remember, in school, in Houston here, most of the schools are predominantly Hispanic or white.
Yeah.
So whenever I would see another African person, there was that interconnection that we had without even speaking to each other. So it's definitely there that you want to be around your people, whether it's from the same village or not, but just your people, and that sense of community, sense of togetherness is definitely there amongst Africans, regardless of where they fall on the continent.
And that makes sense. I like what Gil said about us just operating in little sets here and there.
Yes.
So in just thinking about that, would you marry a different African? Like Kofi, I know you're single, I don't see a ring in your finger.
that
Would you marry a Nigerian or someone from Angola? What about you?
yeah, I don't. Me, I'm very different. Yeah, because remember, I grew away from Angola. I grew up not in Angola. I grew up amongst African Americans. My crew were Jamaicans, Haitians, Congolese, and then other African cultures, Ghanaians, right? Now here in Houston, Nigerians, Ivorians, a lot of Ivorians in DC. But what I was saying at first was, in DC we did away with all that, and we created what it was considered the international vibe,
Community,
right?
yeah.
So we just called ourselves, like even the nightclubs, we stopped calling them African nightclub. No, it was an international nightclub.
That's right.
Right? So when you went there, you knew that you were going to find Africans from all spectrums of Africa.
Yeah.
And there we even, and when I say all spectrums, I mean, they even brought out the Ethiopians, the people from Morocco,
Yeah.
Egypt, right? Those Africans, a lot of times we even forget that they're Africans too.
Yeah.
The white South Africans.
Oh yes,
but
that's true. So let me just ask one last question to kind of sum this up. Uche, how do we build a stronger bond amongst ourselves? Just very, very quickly.
In the diaspora.
In the diaspora, yes.
I don't think it's going to be a difficult thing. There's people are working together in culture, for example. Like to touch a bit on the last question. I'll come into what you're asking.
Okay.
Ghana, for example, there's no governmental, administrative, cultural communication between Ghana and Nigeria. But
Yes.
the people themselves work together, they
Interact,
trade
yes.
together. The first 10 big banks in Ghana are Nigerian banks. The Accra Lagos Highway is very busy with trade, with music, culture. People are working together, collaborating on all sorts of disciplines. So we have that ability to work together.
Yeah.
I met Gil in Houston last year, and since then we've had a bit of interaction and networking and building something up.
Yeah.
So I think culture might just be that conduit for us to collaborate and work together, yes.
I love it.
I'll definitely second that.
You second
Culture,
that?
yeah, culture.
Culture.
It's even what made my transition to America easy.
Smooth and
Was
easy.
music, was that
Music,
drum.
culture,
The first,
community.
the first real like African American friends that were not part of the community where I was growing up in, the guys that I was meeting at school, it was because of music. They played go-go music and then they found out that, I could drum. So we built something, because remember, I was playing soccer, and soccer in America at that time was considered to be a white sport, right? So there were very few blacks playing that. So that drumming put us together. Then, through the drumming, so go-go, hip-hop, that in itself, I think just globalized us into one single community.
Okay, because we're out of time, we probably have just 2 minutes to wrap this up. Very quickly, I'm going to say this. We're going to transition into relationship. If you go online and social media, a lot of African women are hurting, okay? There's a lot of comments about African men and how African men operate.
Well,
And we're going to be very quick, very, very quick, because, we have to have a hard stop in literally 2 minutes.
Okay.
You have African women saying African men cheat a lot.
Okay.
African men are polygamous by nature.
Yeah.
African men, and that's why.
Human beings.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds.
No, let's our shit.
Not about you.
Let's our fire.
That's just fine.
Yeah.
Like African men are polygamous. African men are, have that masculinity that they don't bend or flex. But what Uche said earlier about, now that's changing in modern times. Like men are doing more of the wifely, what's known as the wifely duties. So how do you respond to that, those kind of comments, and how do we build a stronger bond with our women? How do African men build a stronger bond with the women?
Well, naturally, of course, by respecting.
Very quickly, because we have to go.
By respecting each other, and respect is really the first thing, and respect a lot of times also comes with communication, right?
Okay.
And one of the things that we have to remember is that humans are naturally not built to be in a monogamous relationship. That's learned behavior, right? Naturally, that's the issue. Now, if you communicate, you get into a relationship where you communicate and you guys allow yourselves to grow. And even women, not every woman is built to be in a monogamous relationship either.
Yeah, okay.
We will be fooling ourselves by thinking that that's the case. Scientifically, it's impossible because they are selective beings. And that's what kind of tends to keep them a little more monogamous than males, because they're the selective being. We are the quantitative being.
Yeah.
We just looking to do as much as we can,
Yeah.
right? They looking for the best out of the ones coming through. So I would now when we defining cheating, right? And then defining cheating also. Cheating is when you giving someone else something that you're not giving to somebody else. Culturally, in Africa, you can have as many wives as you
Listen,
are
that's
able
a bunch. Let me not
to-
talk.
as many wives as you are
I
able to
represent
take
all the
care
women here,
of,
okay?
right? If you're able to take care of them and they're able to take care of you,
Uh-huh.
and you can handle that without Losing, that's not cheating. That's just creating community.
You know what? We need to do a part 2 because there's so much to say. But very quickly, Kofi, what do you have to say? And should African men take accountability for what these women are complaining about?
I'll speak on the political part a little bit. My grandfather, my mother's father, had 5 wives and 22 children. So, I would say that the natural, thing about not being in a monogamous relationship may be true. But, I mean, cheating is a whole different spectrum. Like, there's a lot of reasons why people cheat. Like, but the biggest thing is, if you can't communicate with that person or you fall short in understanding each other, then you're going to cheat. So, you don't have the time, the energy to keep arguing with somebody about X, Y, and Z and keep disagreeing. So then you lose respect for that person, which then enters somebody else that you can then find more value in the person you're dealing with. I mean, that's just like the over-encompassing thing, but and then just for the record, like, don't be looking at stuff off the media talking about what these women are set up.
It's just, okay, Uche, Yoruba demons, evil men.
Can I ask a question?
Please, ask me a question. We don't have time. Do we have time? How many more minutes? Check.
To understand the question, who are they cheating with?
Yeah.
They cheat with themselves or with other people.
It's a question.
It's a very tilted,
one-sided argument.
Yeah, because I need to know. We also need to hear the complaints of the
and the context
of the men as well, not just the complaints of the women. Men also have questions to ask. But I think the critical issue is that displacement and immigration pulls a lot of strings, a lot of pressure on relationships.
Okay.
Of Africans, because the culture is completely challenged and the living standards are different, the dynamics of society is very different, and they need to adapt in this system. And they arrive and it's very alien to what they know, and the challenge hits them like a bomb and things start to break up. Okay, but the question, what is more important for me is to begin to look for ways to cushion or to weather the storm when it happens, because it will happen. Whatever you think, the very fabrics that hold the family together, our relationships together, will be challenged in the American space.
Yeah.
And we should be more interested in understanding how to.
So what I'm hearing here, if I can speak like a typical woman, is like you're not taking accountability for all the above.
We gotta
close this time. We don't have time. What time is it? We are right.
We'll take
top of the hour.
accountability. Yeah, we'll definitely take accountability for doing wrong now.
Everybody.
When I speak for the individuals who, in all honesty, understand who they are and how they're going about it. Now, mind you, there are individuals who take advantage of women.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not condoning
makes
that.
sense.
No,
That makes
not
sense.
at all. Because it's not about taking advantage. It's about being open. Hey, here's my situation. Here's where I am, and this is how it goes.
Perfect.
I feel like that accountability is a human being thing, not a
It's universal. It doesn't have to be African.
If you guys want to talk more, then be on time. And I have one time food. But I just want to say,
we're gonna talk about women.
You should be accountable for not providing us with refreshment. That's your accountability.
I promise we're going to have part 2 of this conversation. This was so good. So many takeaways. Thank you so much, Gil, for representing Angola. Thank you so much, Kofi, Ghana, and Uche, Nigeria. Thank you all so much for watching this episode of Conversations with Nia. I truly enjoyed the conversation. I should have asked a different question for the last segment, right? But let's have part 2 where we focus on African men and African women and the relationship and how we can explore different areas. Thank you all for watching. Stay tuned for next time. Bye.